Okay, so today we're going to draw the Locator button in AutoCAD 2022. Your print that I give you has an isometric view, but because it's a cylinder, it's quite difficult to dimension in an isometrics view. So I have provided what's essentially the front view. So we're going to start by duplicating this. And then we'll draw like an end view, and because it's a cylinder, we only need two views. It's a very symmetrical cylinder at that. So let's get started. So we'll switch to our object layer. So I like to start by drawing a square, because the main body of this is 1/2 inch wide by 1/2 inch in diameter. So that's where we'll start, and we're going to draw a left side view. So I'm going to draw over here to start. So, like I said, 1/2 inch in width and 1/2 inch in diameter. I'm going to adjust my polar tracking because right now I'm set to 5. Let's go to increments of 45. The way it snaps a little less. 1/2 inch, and again, we'll just use our object track and polar tracking to do that. Next, I'm just going to very quickly switch to a construction layer, and from the midpoint of this line here, I'm just going to run what essentially amounts to a center line through here. That just will make it easier to line up everything as we go in the future. Alright, so now basically we're going to take this segment by segment, and the last thing we're going to do is our little curve here on the back. So we've got this first section done, second section. Let's look at that. We've got 2 dimensions for it. It's 1/8 of an inch in width, and then 5/16 of an inch in diameter. So again, that's the full height here. So what we'll do is we'll offset our 1/2 inch line here 1/8 of an inch to get our width, and then we'll drop in a 5/16 line there just so we can sort of start putting things together. So offset. We'll set our distance at 1/8, hit enter, and we'll offset to the left here. And then we're just, like I said, we're kind of basically going to replace this line with a 5/16 line. We'll draw a line, and it's going to be 5/16. And in fact, we don't even need to replace that line. We can just kind of come in here and sort of pop this right in here, so the midpoint of that line, so we're symmetrical there. Then we'll just draw our top and our bottom. And then we can delete this because we don't need that anymore. We can just kind of stretch these lines over. You can also use the extend command, which is the opposite to trim. So basically you just go to trim, you click on extend, and then you hit enter once, just like we did with trim. And it will, whatever you click on, it'll extend instead. And then we're going to replace this line with a 3/8 inch line for our next one, because our next diameter is 3/8 of an inch. And you can see that that's the diameter that actually creates the shoulder there. And the width there is not noted directly, but we can figure it out. So we have 7/8 of an inch. Minus 1/2 inch leaves us with 3/8 total. So in other words, from here to here is 3/8. And then we subtract 1/8, so that leaves us with 1/4 of an inch. And then 1/4 of an inch minus 1/16 for the kind of beveled section here leaves us with 3/16. So we will offset this over 3/16. Actually, better yet, let's do our 3/8 first. So we're making 3/8 in diameter, so we'll do 3/8 inch line there. We'll just kind of pop that right in place there. We'll click here and delete our 1/2 inch line. And we've got our shoulder, and we said that that's 3/16 wide, so we'll offset 3/16 and bring that to our left, and just draw a line to connect it up. One there, a little long, but that's not the end of the world. I can just come in and trim it there. And then our front, we said, is a 1/16 of an inch wide. What we don't have, though, is we don't know how long this line is. Obviously, I could measure on the drawing, but if it's not drawn, we have nothing to measure from. What we do know, though, is the angle. So we know where we're starting our line here, and we know the angle that it's at, and we know what our run is left to right. So we're going to offset this 3/8 line by 1/16 of an inch now. And we can just draw an object line from the corner there down at an angle of 45 degrees, then up at an angle of 45 degrees. And then we can just come in and trim it. There we go. And now to do our circle. So the back end has a radius of 3/4 of an inch. What I like to do that is we'll just kind of pick really anywhere, it doesn't matter, somewhere along this center line, and we'll just draw a circle that is 3/4 of an inch in radius. Again, really important that it should be this big. And what we'll do is we'll switch over to our construction layer, and from our corner where we know that circle is going to touch, we'll just draw a line directly to the right. And then we can use the Move tool. So we'll click on Move. It says Select Objects. We're going to select our circle. And we'll hit Enter. And it says Specify Base Point. So now we know basically what that construction line does is it gives us a base point to grab that circle by, so we can move it into place here. And we can remove our construction line and use the Trim tool and remove what doesn't need to stay. And we can change this into a center line now. And we can center things up. And then we can lower our line type scale so we have a good center line here. Let's try 0.5. That looks good. Okay, now what we're going to do is in sort of an end view. And we're making it a left side view because that'll give us the most visible lines. If we made it a right side view and we're over here, we'd have one visible circle for our 1/2 inch diameter, and then everything else would be hidden. It would kind of become messy. So the best way to start that is with our 1/2 inch circle. Actually, better yet, let's project our center line. Project that over. Then we're going to project basically every corner on one end here. So it's going to be a total of 4 additional lines. All right. Now we can come in with Object and our Circle tool. Really anywhere, it doesn't matter because we can always move things. We know that our 1/2 inch is visible. We'll just do all of them as visible, and then we'll kind of go from there. And make sure they're all concentric. Okay, so we have 4 visible circles. So we're looking from the right. So if we go from our left side view to the right, pardon me, we can see this corner, this edge. So that one's good. So we'll delete that construction line. And then this one right here, our second one. If we follow that over, we can see that that's kind of blocked. So this one we're going to make hidden. We'll adjust the line type scale on that in a minute. We can delete that. Now we know what that is. This third circle, that is visible. So we can delete that. And our fourth circle, the outside, is also visible. So now we can set up our center lines here. So we'll just offset this. Let's say 0.1. That might even be a bit much. And we'll draw in our center lines. So vertical center line and our horizontal center line. And then we can lower our line type scale. In fact, let's select our circle tool while we're at it. And we'll change our line type scale. Let's try 0.5. No dashes on our center lines there. Let's try 0.3. There we go. It's all looking good. All right, so that is the entire locator button.